When the angels had left them and gone into heaven, the shepherds said to one another, "Let us go now to Bethlehem and see this thing that has taken place, which the Lord has made known to us." So they went with haste and found Mary and Joseph and the child lying in the manger. When they saw this, they made known what had been told them about this child. And all who heard it were amazed at what the shepherds told them. But Mary treasured all these words and pondered them in her heart. The shepherds returned, glorifying and praising God for all they had heard and seen, as it had been told them. After 8 days had passed, it was time to circumcise the child, and he was called Jesus, the name given by the angel before he was conceived in the womb.
My dear friends, the year that is about to begin is very different from all other years that we have all seen in our lifetime. Many of us had only heard about the word pandemic and all the havoc that pandemics wreak on humanity. I'm sure some of us would have read about and known details about the Spanish flu of 1918 and about the loss of life and distraction it brought to people across the world. When we began the new year, 2020, we had no idea of what was in store for us for the months that lay ahead. Today we stand at the end of that eventful year to usher in another year, the year 2021. We have no idea what this year has in store for us either. It is the future, and the future is unknown. But we know that it holds possibilities, and it will present us with challenges, some old and some new. The challenges that we have been facing for a long time now in a global level are accelerating, and we are all familiar with them. Climate change, unequal distribution of wealth, gender-based violence and discrimination, the age of fake news and fake promises, the vagaries of the post-truth world, all of these are in front of us. At the dawn of this new year, if COVID-19 pandemic looms large over the horizon, refusing to cede space to other events and catastrophes, therefore, the fitting lesson for each of us as we usher in the new year would be to build on the lessons that we have learned through the trying times of the pandemic. For one, the pandemic times made us deeply aware of how closely connected we humans are. We know of all the manners in which we humans have devised ways to divide ourselves into nation states and other bounded entities, and we have invented new ways and technologies to name and to keep people who are different from us away from our shores. We have numbered ourselves, documented ourselves and other people, and made borders of various kinds, and made those borders ever stronger through various means, both technological, online and offline. The pandemic broke all those barriers and borders. Some nations and communities sought out to make the barrier and the border stronger to ward off the virus. but the virus did sneak in. And then we realized that we are all in this together, rich and poor, high and low, mighty and vulnerable. We became aware of the precarity of human predicament, and we became all the more, all humbler for it. We also deeply became aware of the limits and the unpredictability of human achievement. We have all got used to the idea that science has developed so much that there is hardly anything beyond its power. Scientists and experts kept changing their assessment of the pandemic as new data poured in from different parts of the world. There was a time at the height of the pandemic when it seemed that there is hardly any difference between the ignorant rant of the layperson and the reasoned assertion of the expert. The gulf between the stupid and the learned, the common person and the scientist, vanished into thin air. When we heard of the long wait for the vaccine, we knew that science is, after all, a human enterprise, and it has its own logic and limitations. And there are roadblocks and parameters to what science can achieve and when it can do so. And sure enough, the vaccines are around the corner. But we have learned our lessons. If there is an overriding lesson that we can carry with us into the new year, the year 2021, it is the acute necessity of fostering what Pope Francis calls a culture of care. Care, caregivers, and caregiving assumed gigantic degrees of importance at the time of the pandemic. The positivity generated in the human mind through the exhausted yet determined work of the health workers, other caregivers, the generous help of donors who reached out to the neediest with goods, services, and cash, the willingness shown by the general public to abide by restrictions and adopt recommended changes in the lifestyle are all expressions of an outpouring of care. If there ever can be a single wish for the new year, it would be that this overwhelming experience of care may inspire us to humbly acknowledge the precarity of our human condition, open ourselves to new possibilities that God is leading us to, enhance the connectedness that we share as humans at a deeper level, that we may reach out as persons and in groups and communities to others in care, in love, and in fellowship. I wish you all a very happy and successful and healthy New Year.